This is not looking so clear. Really hard. Oh, the board's not on, that's why. I can't see the board at all. You guys, this is crazy. It's not crazy.
No. Yes. We're just one.
All right, hopefully this is not clear. That's not so bad. Okay. So we'll do these warm-ups and then we'll try to take a break. Hopefully by that other class out there will be done being outside. So it's September 1st. Everything's bound to get better in September, right?
No.
So, what do you guys think of when you think of the word geometry? So like, you signed up for geometry, like what in the world does that even mean? What do you guys think of when you think of the word geometry? Yeah, go ahead, Peyton.
The math behind shape.
The math behind shapes. So yeah, included like not only just shapes, because I think you probably know like what shapes are, but like the math that goes with it. So it's math and shapes together. Other thoughts on geometry? Kind of no wrong answer here. Everybody wrote exactly what Peyton wrote. What do you guys have? A lot of shapes I think I saw. Does anyone have anything else? Angles? Yeah, angles are something probably, I would say sometimes more than shapes. We use a lot more angles or the shapes in the angles. Angles versus angels. Anybody else? What else you got? Did anyone's parents tell you that they hated geometry? I always have people tell me, oh, you teach geometry? Because they remember something in geometry that they hated. Anyone hear any like bad rumors about geometry? The P word. The word proofs, have you ever heard that? Does someone say, oh, I did geometry and I hated proofs? Like, I think that's always what I hear when I tell people I'm a geometry teacher. Now, proofs are one of the things that's tough for students a lot of times, especially high school students or like teenagers, because a lot of times you don't want to explain yourself very thoroughly. Like you want to just say, well, it's obvious, like duh, like that makes sense. Why can't you just see that? Proofs are one of those things where geometry is not okay if you just saying just because or obviously. You have to kind of explain why something is happening. So as we talk about the problems down here, geometry kind of asks that you explain the why behind it as well. So I can't just say x equals 3. X equals 3, I can't just say x equals 3. I have to say kind of how did I get there? Or what did I have to do to get to that point? So that makes geometry a little bit tougher than maybe algebra because it asks a little bit more of the why. And a lot of times we don't want to explain that. We just want to be okay with it just being the answer. All right? So hopefully you were able to solve these two questions. Now, these two problems here are ones that I put on here because I kind of hoped you were comfortable with them. This one has some combining like terms. This one has variables on each side. I hope that you guys have seen these in algebra and we're like, yeah, I can handle something like that. Because problems like this will come up all the time in geometry. So if you were like, I liked algebra, I was good at it, and now it's going away, it's not, because there's a ton of algebra in geometry. So when I have students that tell me they don't like algebra, but they want to do geometry, I say, well, you're going to need algebra for that. So somebody tell me what they wanted to do first in number 1. What did you do first in number 1? What was your very first step there? I know once you guys solved it, so what did you do first? You can't just say what the answer is. That doesn't even really matter in this case. How did we get there? What'd you do first? Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Subtract 5x from x negative 5.
So yeah, and the way I would explain that is I'd say I combined like terms, but yeah, so he said he subtracted 5 from 3. He did 3x minus 5x. And when you do that, what do we get? A negative 2x. And so I don't require you to show absolutely every step, but something like that, kind of just trying to get used to writing that out, try not to do too much in your head. That way I can know what you're up to in case you do make like a silly mistake. Like somebody might do that and just call that 2x and forget the negative. Or they might put those together and call that 8. And then they have a whole big mess and they can't figure out where they went wrong. All right, next step. What do you guys want to do next? What should we do next to try and solve this problem? A lot of you guys have done it. Be brave. You can almost like shout an answer and we don't even know where it came from with the math. Yeah, go ahead, Peyton.
1/6 by -8.
I wouldn't do that quite yet. We will do that though.
It is one way.
That's one way. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably say that's not the most efficient way, or maybe the way that most of us would do it. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Subtract 6 from each side.
Yeah, I like that. I like to subtract 6 from each side. I just try to get that x alone at this step. So this is done. 0 minus 6 is a negative 6. Now I like Peyton's idea of dividing. Just in case the number is not a nice number to work with, dividing later is a little bit better so that way you're not working with a decimal or a fraction too long. So we're dividing by -2. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and so we get positive 3 there. And if you had some extra time, you might have like been nervous, like it's the first day back, I might check the answer really quick and double check that that worked. And you can kind of put it back into the top up there. All right. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I totally was bad at this stuff, this is a great example of something you can always check in with me, talk to me about it, just be honest right away and say like, I struggled with solving equations, I'm gonna need some help, and that's perfectly fine. I'd be glad to help you. I think kind of the second time around, sometimes you're gonna feel really confident about it. All right, so number 2, somebody new I wanna hear from. What'd you guys do first in number 2? What did you guys do? Some of you guys who already know, I might start calling on you just because like I know you. What'd you do first in number 2? Julie, I'm gonna pick on you. What'd you do first?
I subtracted the x from the right side.
Yeah, so she talked about a right side there. There's kind of like there's 2 sides of this equation. There's a right side and a left side. And so this x over here, she's moving it over to the other side. Sorry, there's a little messy there. So we're taking that x away and moving it over to the other side. Because now that x is gone. She moved it over by subtracting x over to the other side. And if you forgot you could do that, that's what we were reviewing. I didn't expect you walked in the first day and maybe you remembered everything from algebra. So 2x minus x, 2x minus 1x is just x or 1x. And we just have plus 9, and then that equals a negative 7. That's already looking a ton better there. Right? And now to get that x alone, yeah, now we can just subtract that 9 and move it over to the other side. Because again, to move it over to the other side, we have to undo it. So there's our negative 16. You guys got? Or if you didn't get that, hopefully you guys kind of see where you went wrong and you kind of fix that. Okay? You guys probably have some sort of tool to find out how soon I'll trip over this cord. Like wipe out. All right, questions there? So typically we'll start the lesson with something like this where we're reviewing something or trying to give ourselves like just kind of like a little like hint into what we're going to be learning. And so we'll be using these ideas in the next couple of days. So we're going to move down and start some vocab. And then once we do that, maybe we'll try to take a break here. They're doing a long activity outside. Keep an eye on them, and they're busy out there. So we're going to define some of these words. So there's a vocab word, and some of them are almost so like basic that you're like, I don't even know how to explain that. Like the word point, you're probably like obviously it's just, you know what, it's just a point, it's there, it's just, I mean, how do I describe it? So the way we're gonna describe it is as a specific location. So if I said, go stand on that dot, like in the hallway, like away from some, you know, like, and we probably know this better with social distancing, there's like little like spots in the grocery store, that's your point that you have to stand on. So it's a specific location. So if I said go there, you would know exactly where it is, like a GPS like pin. So my husband is a Phi Ed teacher here, and he's a baseball coach, and he is a very smart guy in a lot of ways. He's horrible at directions. So if I go someplace, half the time I go there, I have to like drop my pin. Like, so on Google, if you've ever done that, like, because he can't find anything. Like we were driving to the same restaurant the other day, and he went totally the wrong direction. We've been there like 100 times. So, I mean, he's horrible with directions. So he needs a specific point. Where are we headed to? So it does not have a size though. So on my GPS location, you know, if I drop a restaurant location, it's the same size if I drop like a state park. Like it's still just as big on my location, that specific point. So there's no size or shape to it. So when we talk about a point, it's not like, ooh, that's a big point and that's a little point. Like it's one point in space or on a piece of paper. Hi.
Can I interrupt for a second?
No, you definitely can.
All right, so folks, hands up if anybody here does not have their school device. Yeah. So we've got a few. So we'd like to just grab them and have them go get them. So I want to take the two from this row. You guys can come with me. And then as soon as the next row, as soon as they come back, you guys can come on down, just head down to the library. Okay?
And then, real quick, if someone's not able to get on today, what are they supposed to do again? Sorry. What is Mr. Isom wanting to do? Like they can't log in or something?
Oh, yeah, like, so part of it, because we had a lot of computers that weren't picked up yet, you're not set up in Schoology yet.
Okay.
We're hoping by the end of the day, we can get them all passed out. So just do what you can today.
And so if they can't get online today,
We'll get you caught up. Don't worry about
Thank
it.
you.
Hey, go ahead, you guys, head down to the library, you're going one door past is the server room. One of you going one way up. You guys, here's my 2 cents. We have 2 goals for today. 1, have you arrived here? How many have arrived here?
I haven't arrived.
Woo! You're halfway to the goal. Okay. How many of you plan on going home today? Me too. Okay. If you succeed at that, day 1's a win. Okay? So don't get too frustrated today. We're just happy you're here.
And the control freak in some of you guys, I'm sure are like me. I like the fact that this is going as poorly as it is so far. Like, I'm sorry, but it's killing me as well. But hopefully it'll be okay. We'll be okay. We'll get through everything we need to. Or we don't. We pick up next time. All right. So with that point, is this point there has a specific name, just like you guys all have specific names. I don't just like say, hey, student, and then you like know who I'm talking about. What do you think I call that point? What do you think I would call that point? It has a name. It's point A. So if we want to name that point, it has a name. Otherwise, A doesn't know I'm talking to it. So that is point A. I know it's really, really like deep. Like, I mean, I thought for a long time about what to name that point, and I came up with A, and I feel like it's really its name. It's really important. And we use a capital letter to name the point. And that is important, and it doesn't sound important, but there's a lot of things with notation and geometry that's really, really important, that we use capital letters for points. So if you guys called that point lowercase a, as silly as that sounds, someone that knows geometry would be like, that's not like a valid name. Just like calling you like an idiot would not be a valid thing to call you. Like that would be like no, bad of me. So we want to be specific and call it the way it's supposed to be called. All right. The next thing is a line. And our line, specifically, what can you tell me that you can see about that line? What do you know about that line? Can you explain it in any way? How would you explain that line to someone who can't see it? So if someone has their eyes closed, or they're blind, or they can't see it, or they're on the phone, how would you explain that to them? It's point. Which one are you looking at? Okay, I was like, it connects point P to point Q. And so that actually helps us with the name. So if we're going to name it, so I'm going to write down its name over here. Call it point or line PQ, and you put a little line over the top. So just like Will said, it includes point P and Q. And so you just put a little line over the top. That's how I name it, point PQ. And I put the little arrows on the end to show that it goes on forever. So that's one of the things about this line, is a line goes on forever. So it's never ending. In this store, does anyone need a device? Yeah, do you want to head down to the library? Do you know where that is? Yeah. It's never ending. Oh, did you go back too? Or did you go yet?
I did.
You didn't go? Well, okay. So it's never ending. Now, if you try to draw this line exactly like mine on your paper, do you think it'd be exactly like mine?
No.
Why? What do you think you need for that to be exactly like mine? What would make yours not as good as mine? Anyone know? What's true about that line?
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
If you're middle school, don't have your device, wait till next period.
Okay. All right.
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
unless you just want to stretch your legs.
Yeah. Sneak on out. Can you tell that line is straight? So it's a pretty straight line. If I try to draw a straight line freehand, it would not look that nice. So the fact that this line is straight, which means it doesn't have curves in it, it doesn't have crazy directions, and it goes on forever in both directions. So it goes in both directions straight. And if you're trying to draw that line, it needs those arrows. So the arrows show it goes on forever. So we would assume this line keeps going. Now, if you could keep drawing it that way on your paper, but obviously that's not feasible because we have to keep drawing it around the whole globe, or the whole Earth. The Earth is flat, then we just keep drawing it in both directions. But so the line straight goes on forever. You can also call this line QP as well. That's also acceptable. Get crazy. Or there's also that little cursive M. It's kind of a little italicized M. You can also use that. So line M. Okay.
Next to high school students without a device, you can head on down.
Thank you. Do they have a card for Dawson for lunch? Did anyone use
I
that?
told them that he didn't have one.
Okay, so some point of it. So we can also call that line M. So it's kind of like a nickname for your line. All right, so we're actually kind of running strangely low on time. I think I'm going to stop for right now. We'll see.